Are you here to watch the second part of the 50 best songs of 2016? Cool. Just go on in. I'll be with you in a minute. So one thing before I do officially start, I wanted to explain that the order has nothing to do with somebody being better than somebody else. So number one is not, in my opinion, a better song than number 100. It's just a list. So in the spirit of it being just a list, is I've taken these little cards that I've made up and I'm randomly pulling numbers and then going to my list that I've made previously and I'm assigning the number on the fly. That'll keep everything a little bit less listy. From Malmo, Sweden, Paper Submarine from the Trouble on Earth album, a song called Sponge Boy. This song is so good, and it's like, it's got the energy of like a bunch of, hyperactive first graders, hopped up on pixie sticks. It's a great song. And it also has this real like, kind of crazy, like, again, proto-punkish, 1979, like Devo, kind of weird art rock tone to it. And it's just a great track. And I don't think you'll find it on any other favorite list, but it's on mine. Number 46, Sunflower Bean, Easier Said. These guys are from Brooklyn, founded in 2013. Nick Kevlin on lead guitar and vocals, Jacob Faber on drums, and Julia Cummings on bass and lead vocals. Talked about them a couple years ago on the blog, and I think their sound has become more polished, and I hope not too polished, but they still sound so great, and they're so damn young. Pisses me off. No, I'm just kidding. Check it out. Easier Said. Do not like this. These guys have gone far and they're going to go farther. Number 15, The Pixies, Bel Esprit. From their 7th album, Head Carrier, which I really liked. Again, Black Francis is mining Catholic mythology and stirring the stuff of life or being in bands. Well, Pixies aren't the Pixies without Kim Deal. The Pixies are still a great band. And an album that has a lot of tenderness. Yes, it has the repentance, the heartbreak, the certain amount of perversion that is always there in Black Francis songs. But it has a whole lot of tenderness too. Number 35, Zers, I Don't Have To. I don't even know how you pronounce this band's name. It's Xurs, and I'm assuming it's Zers. They have a frenetic, exquisite sledgehammer of a sound with like progressive tendencies. Like, you know, this song does not sound like heavy metal or just garage rock. It almost, you know, the way the drums, you know, leap out with certain guitars and whatnot, it almost has a kind of jazz sensibility about it. The progressions shift uncomfortably into place, blistering guitar lines and, you know, mirror vocal lines a lot of times. It's very progressive. It's very Frank Zappian, but not. I wasn't a big Frank Zappa fan, to be honest, but I'm a fan of this kind of sound. So again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It may be somebody who likes somebody like Rudy DeAnda or Wild Pack of Canaries or Captain Beefheart, but it does have a furious sound that you could even call, you know, progressive punk. It's very lively, to say the least, and it just gets your mind going. So, somebody worth checking out. Zers or Xurs. And the song is I Don't Have To. Number 10, Phantogram. You Don't Get Me High Anymore. No, seriously, it's on the list. Now I know what you're thinking. This is not generally the kind of song that would appear on American Pancake. This is true. There's also one other. 24, Pity Sex, song Plum. Now this song kind of started midstream because I wanted to show the dynamics of this band. They're considered indie rock, emo, dream pop, probably shoegaze too. And what's very cool about them is that they will have these starkly sparse passages of sound and then erupt into a bigger, noisier sound, shoegazy sound, yes. And I just find that so interesting and sounding so cool. The vocalist on this, Brittany Drake, I believe that she left the band in August. And I've heard some rumblings that, you know, that may be in flux, but I think it might be, that might be it for her, which is a shame, because I really enjoy her sound. And here, they just erupt into, you know, just a full immersive sound, but still keep the vocals, you know, very mellow and very subdued and very somber. And it just, I love it. This is a great song. Plum by Pity Sex. The album this is from is White Moon Hot, and I hope you check it out. There'll be links below. Another song on my list that would not really appear on American Pancake. But I have to admit, there's just something from a total pop, catchy feel that this song, just when it comes on the radio, I don't go by it. I turn it up. I do. It's just so well produced. And that synth hook right there is what makes the song. That just makes the song. Got a good groove too. 29, The Frights. Song, Puppy Knuckles. The Fright's new album, You're Going to Hate This, is produced by Fiddler's Zach Harper. And you can feel that in some of the songs, and some of the songs you don't. But the entire album is really interesting. Whether it's his influence or the Frights or whatever, it's a very, very cool album. The song Puppy Knuckles, for whatever reason, just is the one that sticks with me the most. I would say that Puppy Knuckles is the We're Not in Kansas Anymore track. It's just weird. It's real lush. It's got a kind of weird ramping down cadence. The synth gets real lush. It gets real Spartan and it gets real full. It just sounds so interesting. The production and the vocal presentation feels somewhere between The Killers, Brandon Flowers, and 21 Pilots Tyler Joseph. It just is in that pocket, which gives it a lot of pop cred too. I think this is a very, very interesting album for the Frights. Frights out of San Diego, California. I hope you check them out. Number 5, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, I Need You. I Need You is relentlessly sad. The song kind of repeats phrases over and over again. It's as if you were in an ocean and you were, grabbing on rocks battered up against the side of a jetty, and the waves just kept pounding on you, pounding on you. And that's how heavy the song is. It's the ability that Nick Cave, in his vocal performance, to transmit his emotions to you. And as sad as it is, it's very beautiful too. And what's really beautiful within the song, besides the lyrical content and the vocal performance, is just the swelling background vocals that wash around the song and wash around his emotions. One of the chorus of the lyric, or the choral part, says nothing really matters when the one you love is gone. I mean, that's kind of the entire crux of the song. And then the rest of it feels like him remembering, passages of the past, of this person that, this loss that he's felt. Powerful song, and I have to admit I haven't had a chance to check out the full album, but this song makes me want to do that, and it's something I'm going to do early in 2017. Number 36, Seldom Family. So Seldom Family is this two-man outfit. Patrick Norris on vocals and guitar, and Chris Calder on drums, bass, guitar, and lap steel. They're out of Pennsylvania, and a lot of their stuff has kind of a 1950s, tortured, sock hop punk type of tone to it. Really good, emotional, dreamy tracks on this album. You need to check it out. 14, Glass Spells, Away from Space. I've been enjoying Glass Bells for a few years. You know, they have this kind of hybrid of blendo punk and disco and gothy sounds. Everything is kind of sounds like it was in the future, but in the present. And this particular track seems so perfectly in tune now with some of the nostalgia thing going on with for example, Stranger Things. Stranger Things kind of harkens back to E.T. and old sci-fi movies and everything. And Glass Bells music kind of harkens back to a kind of 1980s, you know, feel as well, but also feels very today and punk disco-y, like I said before. I really like this track. I really like Glass Bells. Yay Sayer, Gerson's Whistle. Yay Sayer, they are trippy. Now, Gerson's Whistle is from their latest album, Amen and Goodbye. And all the songs may or may not be tied to each other. It's like this weird puzzle, and you have to figure out the connections, both musically and historically, if you want to delve into their album that way. If you just want to enjoy the music, just enjoy the music. But they've definitely, this time out, I think, sounds more poppier than ever. But this song is one of my favorites on the album. Yay Sayer, Gerson's Whistle. Number 49, Petite Miller, Milk Bath.
Just like the heat causes fire, 'cause you know it makes me go higher. When you touch my hips in the shower, God exists between your dollars. Please stop making me out while I sink in the hot tub. Shouldn't I feel freaky the whole time? My heart beat faster, coming to get you, coming to get you.
Now, Petite Miller and her artistic band of visionaries, let's say, put out the song Milk Bath, which is a heady blend of world indie music. And that's one reason I like some of her material, is because it is world music. It does borrow from South African beats and other, you know, cultures. The chorus is extremely catchy. You know, it does Zydeco, it does Mambangwa rhythms, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Part of the song and the little breaks remind me of Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, you know, Paul Simon song. And he's always kind of flirted with other rhythms as well. In this case, she worked with, I'm gonna mess this up, Lady Smith Black Mambazo, who worked with Paul Simon later on too, you know, when he did the Graceland and all that. So it is a just fun, celebratory music, and this one is particularly just charming to me, and so it is on my list. Kind of squeaked by, but it's on it. Number 37, Non-Keen, Pink Flirt. Pink Flirt is from an album called The Gamble by German keyboardist and composer Neil Fromm. Now what he did, which is really interesting, he took old, informal, really lo-fi recordings from fellow bandmates Frederick Geimer and Sebastian Singwald in Germany in the early 90s. So these were like 90s 4-track tapes, you know, very simple primitive recorders with very cheap lo-fi mics, and they were like ambient experiments. So he took some of those sounds and he repurposes them into other ambient sounds with more modern technology, and the result is very minimal, very noisy in some spots. Not noisy, but like noise rock, where there's a lot of industrial hums and things like that. But at the same time, it's really interesting stuff. And it sounds very choral, church-like in a sense. And I got kind of the sense of like history meets the future. Like some of the sounds made me think of like Metropolis, the Fritz Lang movie, but then it also sounds very futuristic, like it could be in Blade Runner 2 or something. Just really neat stuff. Stuff that you have to be in a quiet place and listen to. You know, it's definitely not something you can listen to while you're like doing things or whatever. Well, yeah, you can be doing things, but I mean, you have to have the quiet around you to be able to hear all the subtleties. But I think it's real interesting. Hope you check it out. Magana, Golden Tongue.
I dream of lives that are far away, but an escape from a lonely road. Collected years
From a debut EP. This lady was born in Bakersfield, California, but is kind of hubbed out of Brooklyn. A lot of cool things happening in her songs.
covered my words with your golden tongue, and shifted at what is in my heart. Well, I'm not sure the color mine. Why does it feel like it's so damn hard? Hey, something has gone very wrong. Sometimes it will seem not slowly and it'll ever be.
Love this lady's voice. Again, Magana. Check out her EP. I'll have the link below. Number 47, Goon, Slab Roller. Goon is an outfit out of LA, and they released an EP called Dusk of Punk. And it admittedly sets off a lot of like bells and whistles in your head, like that you may have heard this kind of song before, that kind of song before, even though their songs are original. But it does evoke a certain time frame and a certain, you know, sense of some other bands and songs, and sometimes you can't pinpoint on it. And some songs do that to you. They allude to other artists, or they're inspired by other artists, and I don't take it as a bad thing. It kind of almost feels comforting in a way in this case. Really like this song called Slab Roller. I like all the songs on this EP, but this is just one that when I threw the dart, because they were all so good, it landed on Slab Roller. Really like this sound. It makes me happy.